we are starting off with CM Punk. And when he returned to WWE at Survivor Series, everyone in Chicago's Allstate Arena seemed happy to see him, or at least everyone but Seth Rollins. On this week's Raw, Rollins made it clear he doesn't want to waste time on Punk, who he considers a hypocrite, but CM Punk has his eyes fixed on the reigning World Heavyweight Champion. Taking to Instagram, Punk shared some artwork a fan created depicting his return at Survivor Series in chibi fashion. While the cartoon Punk hits an RKO pose much to the delight of Randy Orton inside the War Games cage, Seth can be seen cussing out Punk, who described the artwork as fantastic. A tenured member of Creative told Ringside News that Punk is a Raw brand wrestler, but we can't count out a Smackdown cameo or two, given that he'll no doubt be a viewership draw. Punk and Rollins are expected to feud even if Rollins doesn't want to waste his time on the former AEW World Champion, and expect a high-profile feud in the coming weeks or months. CM Punk made a massive impression with his WWE return last Saturday, one that has had everyone talking, and a select few people were able to speak to the man of the hour after the show. During an interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, Daniel Cormier shared his thoughts on Punk, revealing that he spoke with him and suggested who could be returning next. He said, "I texted him, I said, dude, what a freaking pop." He goes, "I couldn't even hear my music, it was so loud." He said it was so loud in there, he couldn't even hear his music. This is the new WWE though, right? It doesn't matter how bad it ended, you can always go back. My thought is, Royal Rumble, maybe Sasha Banks comes back. Helwani, in a move that some have called unprofessional, immediately tried to downplay Banks, now Mercedes Moné, adding, "Who cares? What has she ever done?" Cormier fired back, pointing out that the boss won every title in WWE and has been doing big things in New Japan, and questioned Helwani's attitude towards the former IWGP Women's Champion. When the topic got back onto CM Punk, Helwani was asked if Cormier was surprised by the return. He said, "The thing about wrestling today is, if you're on the internet at all, everyone is guessing. It was in Chicago, so you thought if there was a time, maybe. I liked it, but if you're Randy Orton, you're pissed off, right? Randy Orton comes out, muscles popping, big chest, big shoulders, big muscles, then look in my eyes. Oh, Randy Orton's back. Let's put him back in a tag team with Matt Riddle because now we're all talking about CM Punk." Of course, Riddle's been released and Orton has his eyes set on the bloodline, and as for CM Punk, fans will be watching what he does next very closely, whatever it may be. When CM Punk returned to WWE, Seth Rollins had quite the reaction at ringside, but the architect isn't the only one who has an issue with his return to the company. Fightful Select has previously reported that numerous talent on the roster aren't pleased with Punk's return, believing it's bad for WWE, especially after what transpired in AEW. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, Mark Henry said those talents should realize that the business is bigger than them and that they don't want to be on the wrong side of things. Henry then dared anyone who said that they'll leave if Punk is brought back to deliver on their promise, stating that the business will roll and roll and roll with or without them. On Raw, Punk said that the reaction within WWE to his comeback has been almost completely positive, suggesting that not everyone is ready to welcome him back with open arms. Whether it's on camera or backstage, it seems CM Punk always gets everyone talking, and whether that talk is good or bad, it's all buzz as far as higher-ups in WWE are concerned. What we do know is that some AEW fans haven't taken kindly to Punk's return to WWE, with one fan on social media going to the next level to share their grievance. In a clip that went viral, the fan could be seen setting fire to their AEW-branded CM Punk shirt, as it's safe to say they won't be watching the best in the world on WWE programming. Over to AEW Dynamite now, as MJF had plenty to say during this week's show, and even name-dropped some top Raw superstars for good measure. In a promo, MJF reminded fans how far he's come in AEW, saying he's built AEW brick by brick, and mentioned Cody Rhodes and CM Punk among the list of names he's beaten. After MJF broke his cane and showed he's healed, the lights went out and MJF was confronted by henchmen of the Devil who were prepared to smash his head in with a baseball bat. That was until MJF's World's End opponent Samoa Joe made the save, and in a cryptic message, the Devil dared MJF and Joe to face two unknown opponents next week. MJF, sick of this Scooby-Doo was ready for the match, and fans on social media have their pick as to who is the person causing all this havoc. During a recent segment with MJF and Adam Cole in the ring, the AEW World Champion spoke about sending whoever is in the Devil mask to hell, and Cole could be seen smirking at this claim. Not only that, but Cole could be seen moving his right arm slightly as if he were pressing a button, and moments later the lights went out and the Devil appeared on the big screen. On Twitter, fans were sure that Cole is the Devil, with one saying he's been caught in 4K, while another said that it isn't Jack Perry, as some have suggested. We mentioned that MJF broke his own cane on Dynamite, but that doesn't mean the champion isn't dealing with a lot of pain. On Twitter, shortly before the show, MJF admitted that he's been struggling to sleep, is in a ton of pain, and can't get comfortable, but made clear nothing would keep him from Dynamite. MJF's spirit may be willing to compete next week, but his body is far from healed, and we'll have to see what the Devil does next week when MJF and his challenger Samoa Joe team up. 1 week after Adam Copeland challenged Christian Cage to a TNT Championship match on December 6th in Montreal, Cage wanted to give his response face-to-face. In the ring, Cage attempted to sweet-talk his former friend, reminding them of their history together before trying to convince Copeland to reunite one last time in memory of Adam's late mom. Copeland responded with a low blow and rejected the offer, and to add insult to injury, used Cage's own language against him, telling the TNT champion to go yourself. For a moment it looked like he was going to play the dead dad card, but he thought better of it, only to still pay for it in the end. Copeland versus Cage for the TNT title is a huge main event, and will make for some must-see TV next Wednesday when AEW comes to Montreal. On this week's NXT, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo took on Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo in an NXT tag title match, but one move in the match got a lot of attention. During the bout, Garza hit the Tiger Driver 98, which has also been called the Moneymaker by Cedric Alexander, a move that had previously been banned for its high risk of injury. On Twitter, Alexander shared his excitement at the return of the move, asking if we can do the Moneymaker now, and shared a mind-blown emoji to hammer home his excitement. It's worth noting that Garza may have hit the move without knowing it's banned, or perhaps he did and took a risk, and we'll have to see if the move is continued to be used in the future on NXT. This week, QT Marshall shared that he will be finishing up his time with AEW by the end of this year, and we now know more about what has led to his exit. Marshall had been Vice President of Creative and Talent for AEW, a role he'd been in for years, and on screen, he was the leader of QTV, and he seemed to have an angle with Powerhouse Hobbs. This was suddenly scrapped, and Marshall began feuding with luchadors for AAA, and it turns out that scrapping this angle led to tensions growing for QT and TK. Wrestle purists report that the storyline with Hobbs was scrapped after CM Punk mentioned he didn't want it on Collision, but Tony Khan took the fall for the decision at the time. There was no transparency with this decision, and the report states that this was the start of the fractured relationship, as QT was wondering why Khan took the fall for Punk's decision. This goes in line with reports that Punk didn't see the angle as a productive use of Powerhouse Hobbs, who, like many in AEW, has faced start and stop pushes. CM Punk may be gone from AEW, but his actions still linger, and with Marshall going, we'll have to see who fills his very important roles backstage. Back to AEW Dynamite now, as Jon Moxley became the first competitor to own 6 points in the Continental Classic by defeating Jay Lethal in the opener. Lethal targeted the left knee of Moxley, which had been damaged early in the match, but that wouldn't be enough to stop the former AEW World Champion from getting the pin. Moxley earned a gritty victory while Lethal remains winless in the tournament, and the bout even saw Moxley break character for a brief moment. When Moxley got sent over the barricade by Lethal, the ex-superstar was seen chilling and interacting with fans before getting serious again and getting the win. Up next, a pre-taped promo from Eddie Kingston put over the devastation of his loss to Brody King, while simultaneously depicting Kingston as a determined competitor ready to get a win. Bryan Danielson, who was sat on commentary for the night, promised he would not be humble in the tournament and would hold nothing back in his pursuit to be the first AEW Triple Crown champion. It was during a recent taping of Ring of Honor that Ronda Rousey made her ROH debut in her third match since parting ways with WWE. Rousey and Marina Shafir won the match, albeit by disqualification, over Athena and Billy Starks, and there were quite a few players backstage who made this match happen. The Wrestling Observer reports that Rousey's appearance was a favor to Shafir, a close friend of hers, and as part of a deal between AEW and Wrestling Revolver, which also saw the same tag match. The report adds that Jon Moxley played an important role in securing this deal, as he is friends with Sami Callihan, the owner of Wrestling Revolver. At first, Tony Khan didn't want Athena and Starks to wrestle at Revolver, as AEW were hosting 3 shows that same week, but a deal was made that the Revolver tag match ended in a no contest. For fans to see a winner, they'd have to tune into the tag match at ROH, and perhaps this won't be the last time we see Ronda Rousey compete at a Tony Khan show. Back to Dynamite as the Hardys and Brother Zay faced Action Andretti, Darius Martin, and Dante Martin, the latter of whom was competing in his first match on Dynamite in months. Ultimately, the Hardys and Zay came up short, and we imagine all of the young talents learned plenty by sharing the ring with one of wrestling's greatest teams. As previously confirmed, Sting will be retiring at next year's Revolution pay-per-view, and we now know when and where that match will happen. On Dynamite, it was confirmed that Revolution will happen on March 3rd from the historic Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're sure the Icon will receive a fitting send-off. In the Continental Classic, Roosh defeated Mark Briscoe to earn 3 points, and while Roosh winning was the right call, it's another setback for a Ring of Honor original. Briscoe joins Jay Lethal as the only two competitors to compete twice and not earn a single point, which does not do any good for the legacy of ROH. Wardlow defeated AR Fox in a match that was more competitive than what we've seen since Wardlow's return to TV, but did little else other than give him another win. Nothing was advanced by what was effectively a squash match, and while Wardlow wants MJF, the current booking implies that he's in the midst of another start-and-stop push. In TBS Championship action, Julia Hart reintroduced the House Rules gimmick to face Emi Sakura, meaning that Sakura could pick the stipulation of the match. Sakura said that the title match could not end via submission, but in the end it was Hart who got the win, and a massive reaction from her hometown crowd. In another Continental Classic Gold League match, Swerve Strickland defeated Jay Wight in a superb main event, earning himself 3 points and proving he's one to watch. The look on Wight's face after the referee called for the bell suggests he's about to become more dangerous than ever, as desperation is setting in early in this tournament. During an episode of AEW Dynamite earlier this month, Paul Wight made his return to the ring, teaming with Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi in the Like a Dragon Gaiden Street fight. Wight hit a major chokeslam on Kyle Fletcher and then brawled with Powerhouse Hobbs before being taken out of the match with Hobbs slamming him onto the hood of a car. Speaking on Talk is Jericho, Chris Jericho gave an update on his Jeri-Show ally and said that there is some work that needs to be done on the 7-footer. We wanted to focus on Show's positive, I call him Show, you know what I mean, Paul Wight. Paul had hurt his knee and has some issues where I think he has to get some of that cleaned out right now. The idea was to involve him showing some of his strengths. Originally, he just wanted to be in the back, but I said, the people in the arena are going to want to see you. He came out, beat some guys up, did some Paul Wight big chops, and chokeslammed Fletcher through the table on the floor, which is huge. Him and Hobbs fight to the back, and Hobbs ends up slamming him onto the roof of a car, which is insane. The bump that he took, it also continues to build Hobbs as a giant killer. That worked great. I think we did a great job with Show's presentation there. Jericho also confirmed that the match, which saw his team beat Konosuke Takeshita, Brian Cage, Kyle Fletcher, and Powerhouse Hobbs, was a one-off for Wight in his in-ring career. It's unknown when, if ever, we'll see the former WWE World Champion compete again, and we're wishing the Giant all the best on his recovery. During the 2023 draft, Cedric Alexander went unpicked by both Raw and SmackDown, leaving him as a free agent, but this week the former Cruiserweight and Raw Tag Team Champion found a home. It's been confirmed that Alexander has been assigned to the SmackDown brand, so fans excited to see the High Flyer will have to tune in exclusively to Friday nights to see him in action. As we previously reported, Triple H was not at this week's monumental episode of Monday Night Raw, as WWE's chief content officer was said to be handling other WWE business. In his absence, Bruce Pritchard oversaw the production of this week's Raw in Nashville, and now we know more about what kept the game occupied. PW Insider report that Triple H and Nick Khan have been in LA over the past few days, trying to secure the media rights deals for Raw, the only TV deal in WWE that hasn't been locked down for 2024. We know that SmackDown will now move to the USA Network next October, while the CW will soon be airing NXT, and it might not be long before Raw finds itself a broadcast partner. The report added that there are several suitors at this juncture, which is interesting as there's no word on Vince McMahon being a part of any of these talks about a new deal. Instead, Triple H has been the one trying to win over prospective partners, and trying to find a new home for Raw is what kept him from this week's show. More CM Punk news now, as with the best in the world back in WWE, many are curious as to how AEW will respond to what transpired at Survivor Series. Tony Khan has said he cannot legally talk about Punk, and according to Booker T, what happened in the Allstate Arena is a huge blow to AEW, as he explained on the Hall of Fame podcast. I tell you, this is a huge blow. that Chicago market, of course, has been huge for AEW. Bringing CM Punk in was a plan to really boost things to the next level. Bottom fell out, still tried to run Chicago. Now it's going to be so hard for that company to step back into Chicago without someone like CM Punk. Booker added that this goes back to his old mantra of keep your damn mouth shut and take care of your business, and said failing to do so leads to falling into potholes like this one. It was also noted that this is just one pothole, and those are just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, especially if AEW can't focus on their own work and instead look at Punk. While Tony Khan won't talk about Punk, that may not be the case for many on the AEW roster, and we'll just have to see how those in the company react to what happened at Survivor Series. In May, Mercedes Mone suffered an ankle injury which has kept her on the shelf ever since, but now the former IWGP Women's Champion is getting close to a return. On social media, Mone shared a video of herself training back in the ring, and it'll be interesting to see what's next for her when she is finally wrestling again. Now, Tony Khan allows many AEW and ROH stars to take bookings outside of these promotions, and now 2 current champions of ROH have joined a New Japan stable. At this week's World Tag League event, Gates of Agony, aka Bishop Khan and Toa Leona, were welcomed as part of the House of Torture faction, who had defeated the pair and Yuto Nakashima. Right now, Khan and Leona make up 2/3 of ROH's 6-man tag champions alongside Brian Cage, but fans can expect to see more of them with House of Torture in New Japan. And we're ending with joyous news as Alexa Bliss and Ryan Cabrera have become parents for the first time. On social media, the couple shared a video confirming the birth of their daughter Hendrix, and with a wrestling announcer making it official, perhaps Hendrix Cabrera is a second-generation superstar in the making.